No, had you swearing you was after, that's that white man home. Had you proud to be a savage, that's that white man's zone.
Yeah, you listening to Super Plays, let's go.
1865.
Man, all I'm saying is,
you know what it is, man. Tap in. Welcome. You know what it is. It's the Autonomous Party Podcast and Mix Show. Super Blaze inside the campaign mix. Let's go.
A lot of niggas died 1865. Single Michael fled, how I ain't gonna let it ride. Everybody
pull up real hard on y'all tonight.
Maps tell your apps where you sleep at night. They put that white man on. Got you begging them for answers like that white man know. Had you swearing you was after, that's that white man home. Had you proud to be a savage, that's that white man's zone. And I ain't talking shit, this my definition. If being savage was our nature, y'all be non-existent. We done took your ass out when we was in them kitchens. Instead of showing you how to live and how to maintain business. White supremacy fake. Only way that shit real is if you do what they say. We the God to the gate. So when they say they fear God, now you know what they made.
Shoot song, move song, shoot song, move song. Put us in the same room, he gon' go down. Hit a nigga with that boom, he gon' go down. Shoot song, move song, shoot song, move song. Put us in the same room, he gon' go down. Hit a nigga with that boom, he gon' go down.
Every day my niggas dying, they don't know the truth. How the hell you close to God, we don't know it's you. Yo, how the hell you supposed to survive, we don't know the shoot. He should've died, you let him slide cause he look just like you. I try to tell him all skin ain't kin. Everybody ain't your partner, everybody ain't your friend. How the hell they supposed to help when they the ones that put you in? They don't struggle how we struggle, they can't get it how we live. Can't be scared to die when we already dead. Either way, your life is stake no matter how you play it. My higher self said we should choose remain godly. My lower want these motherfucking bodies. Infiltrate they circles like a motherfucking Audi. Take them to the south and put them down like OG Bobby. They don't want equality in this club, they want these problems. Killers right beside me, slab full of chicken moppers.
Shoot song, move song, shoot song,
move song.
Put us in the same room, he gon' go down. Hit a nigga with that boom, he gon'
you know what it is, man. Charlie.
Shoot song, move song, shoot song.
1865.
Put us in the same room, he gon' go down. Hit a nigga with that boom, he gon' go down.
Yeah, you listening to Super Plays, let's go.
DJ Super Blaze is in the mix. Fire!
Let's get straight to it, man. You know what it is. Let's go.
Rhyme so dope, my eyes low. When you move like God, the time slow. I came back for the blacks and John Doe's. Crack open them land patents, let go of them townhomes. What's a native to a native? Eat $5 dough if he not melanated.
What that mean?
Faces got you waiting on a savior. Sending prayers up, he texting back on vacation. God's children, give all your praise to Jesus, but how God feeling? He say put no one before him in divine image. It's you with God and Christians. I got a vision, but nigga.
DJ Super Blaze is in the mix.
That boy spitting some fire. I'm telling you.
Yeah, rhyme so dope, my eyes low. When you move like God, the time slow. I came back for the blacks and
shot the Charlie, wherever you at, bro.
Patents let go with them towns.
Let's get it.
What's a native to a native? Eat $5 dough if he not melanated. Pale faces got you waiting on a savior. Sending prayers up, he texting back on vacation. God's children, give all your praise to Jesus, but how God feeling? He say put no one before him in divine image. It's you with God and Christians. I got a vision, but niggas ain't gotta listen, so they don't. We came from the soil, wasn't fucking with no boats. Bible took our spirit, English plotted on our homes. Tribal families turned on us, don't act like y'all don't know. But fuck them and they grudges. We was something turned to nothing. And now we nothing's turned to something. Reincarnation of angels, fresh up out the oven. This the message to the black man. 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 Shooters on my roof, lawyers in the coop.
we can never die. Bitch, we
DJ
bulletproof.
Super Blaze.
Message to the black man.
is in the mix.
Message to the black man. You wasn't slaves, you was prisoners of war. You stop wasting your time, these other bitches ain't important. You ain't meditating, you ain't mating with the sauce. Like what the fuck's a noodle if you ain't painted with the sauce? I find it hard to trust the pastor who rather side with the master who preaching we should submit while getting murdered and captured. About how we should wait on God is never our vernacular. They get paid and praised by the dollar long as they keeping us stagnant. And niggas think they woke, huh? Like you could change a whole world through a vote, huh? Like slave masters willing to let their slave go, huh? That slave master was probably your kinfolk, huh? History in reverse, a black king strategy. When blacks were your majesty, they always hide your pyramids but point to where the castles be. Aristocracies with your last name patent accurately. Yeah. And I ain't even tell half the shit. Like, I ain't even tell a quarter of the shit. I'm just getting started. Y'all niggas rap about busting guns and
you know everything is
all this
vintage.
weird shit.
Everything is
Talking about
classic.
people with it, nigga.
Cause ain't nothing new under the sun. That means it's been done before.
Yeah, you listen to Super Blaze.
But not like this though. Yeah. The guy flows giving with such precision. Flow like a Maybach, that's what keep me driven. Roof partition, scribe it to the cosmo, omnipotent vision. I'm everywhere, tell me what I'm really missing. Traveling man, jumping past fifth dimension. P now, too wide open to see religion. Resonating way too loud for me to listen. Is you listening? Merc Kush jumping out the gym like Blake Griffin. Have your mind somewhere in the ethers missing.
Ethers, baby.
With thought and they proceed to listen. Cause my flow's nourishment and my words are living. See my tongue way stronger than that gun you gripping. Cause a big bang like the birth of earth was given. I get missing through the instruments and melody. I don't make music, I compose sound therapy. I think I'm Nick Tesla, Bob Marley, master of ceremony, nigga, I'm God body. Cracking up a bottle open and I'm calling Barry. Osiris Green, Mosra Beads got them knocks staring. I think I'm Jeff Ford. Noah Drew, painting pictures with these words, man, it's what I do. Shouts out the Thriller campaign, nigga, what it do? Keeping everything kosher, no Jew.
One more time for the top.
Everything is vintage.
Mike Ether, you know what it is, man.
Everything is classic.
Shout to Trail. Shout to Monte Raw Trucking. What up, what up, what up?
That means it's been done before. But not like this, though. Yeah. The guy flows giving with such precision. Flow like a Maybach, that's what keep me driven. Roof partition, scribe it to the cosmo, omnipotent vision. I'm everywhere, tell me what I'm really missing. Traveling man, jumping past fifth dimension. P now, too wide open to see religion. Resonating way too loud for me to listen. Is you listening? Merc Kush jumping out the gym like Blake Griffin. Have your mind somewhere in the ethers missing. I cook food for thought and they proceed to listen. Cause my flow's nourishment and my words are living. See my tongue way stronger than that gun you gripping. Cause a big bang like the birth of earth was given. I get missing through the instruments and melody. I don't make music, I compose sound therapy. I think I'm Nick Tesla.
Let's go.
Bob Marley, master of ceremony, nigga, I'm God body.
That's that frequency.
Bottle open and I'm calling.
Yes.
Osiris Green, Mosra Beads got them knocks staring. I think I'm Jeff Ford. Noah Drew, painting pictures with these words, man, it's what I do.
God, channel all them good energies right there.
Nigga, what it do? Keeping everything kosher, no Jew.
Yeah, you listen to Super Blaze. Let's go.
Hey, I've been building mounds, now the mounds turned to pyramids. School of thought, follow God, fuck what your religion is. Y'all niggas look small from the view of my pyramid. Hey,
shout to them mom brothers out there, you know what it is.
I've been building mounds, now the mounds turn to pyramids. School of thought, follow God, fuck what your religion is. Y'all niggas look small from the view of my pyramid. Hey, look at that my pyramid. School of thought, I was building mounds, all I did was dig. Now I'm building pyramids.
Yeah, mama, look at
what I
cut
off the leash, took off the hook. The world brainwashed off of just one book. Same book, told my mama turn her other cheek. Don't bring me no pics, that shit get cooked. Did my research, found out my worth. Shit, I own everything on earth. That's why the Elohim with the young God like me to cast off Uber Ross pussy, not the dirt. Master ceremony, listen what the God say. Manifest life off of what I say. Bears I'm D-I-A-Y-A. say. Pour up the liquor, then I say, I say. I've been building miles, not a mouse. Turf the pyramids, school of thought. Follow God, fuck what your religion is. Y'all niggas look small from the view of my pyramid. Hey, looking down from my pyramid. I've been building miles, not a mouse. Turf the pyramids, school of thought. Follow God, fuck what your religion is. Y'all niggas look small from the view of my pyramid.
Shit ain't what it seems.
Look at that.
This ain't what it seems, this ain't what it seems, this ain't what it seems, this ain't what it seems. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. This ain't what it seems, this ain't what it seems. Life ain't what it seems, life ain't what it seems. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. The spell is broken. Finally we can see. The spell is broken. We free. The spell is broken. Finally we can see. The spell is broken. We free. The spell is broken. Finally we can see. The spell is broken. We free. The spell is broken. Finally we can see. The spell is broken. We free. DJ Khaled voice, we the best. Can't dwell on it cause we manifest. I got tough skin, bulletproof vest. You say you for the people, put you to the test cause the spell is broken. People looking sad, I'm just in my bag. Only time I'm not here is playing tag. We ain't come off a boat, they big mad. They ain't give it to a straight zigzag. Get your lick back, say you did that. I once gave a fuck, I had to get it back. Can't get it back, you gotta live with that. Your government is crack, get out of here with that. Now we know who we are. They mad, they know we a star. They lied, they owe us a car. Really, they owe us the land. Recruitment, they owe us some bands. Wanna help, you owe us a hand. You silly, I know who I am. I'm an Indian, I don't give a damn. Why take problems with none of the perks? The system ain't broke, we don't know how it works. The ops ain't gonna tell you the ops is some jerks. The ops really obstacles, we was here first. I'm spitting the scripture, they call it a verse. We fit the description, they call it a curse. It's fucked up. We was really fucked like both ankles. When they try to help, I'm like, no thank you. Trust them and they gon' flank you. They ain't conquer nothing, but they did snake you. Don't sleep near me cause I will wake you. I'm really woke like pills make you. You show me love and I feel grateful. I'm not a hater, I don't feel hateful. I'ma say something, hope it reach the nation. Less appropriation, more appreciation. God created us, y'all a recreation. When you say Caucasian, all I hear is Asian. I'm a truth teller, I'm not an agent. Truth teller, I'm not an agent. I'm not foul, but the fouls is flagrant. When life's a world stage. Right is right, wrong is wrong. We know that we can police our own. This shit ain't what it seems. Life is but a dream. Who's ever doing the asking is asking. Now we know who we are. They mad, they know we a star. They lie, they owe us a car. Really, they owe us the land. Recruitment, they owe us some land. When they help, you owe us a hand. You silly, I know who I am. I'm an Indian, I don't give a damn. Freedom ain't realized. Freedom ain't, it ain't legalized. Realize. Freedom ain't free, it ain't legalized. Realize. Freedom ain't free, it ain't legalized. Realize. Yeah. Slavery was a long time ago. How? Same motherfuckers still here right now. Colonized on our land, they ahead of us. Changed our name so much they scared of us. Children of the feeling, y'all don't compare to us. Pale-faced people, this ain't y'all area. Talking about America, pale-faced people, this ain't y'all area. Even up the playing field, bitch, I'm darn. How you a victim, bitch, you a Karen. Cognitive dissonance, you don't need sperm. You got white privilege, so you don't need sperm. Looking at my homeland, man, I can't believe her. Colonized came here, they ain't never leave her. Indians ain't die off cause we here. You ain't gotta lie, just say you won't be here. How you American but not indigenous? 400 years still ain't get rid of us. All Europeans, naturalized citizens. Made all the Indians, niggas on the census. 1492, we was on the fences. Civil rights movement, we was so defensive. Black Wall Street, whites got so offended. Common law rights gave us amendments. Thank God don't speak truth, that's alright. First slave 1619 was all white. 1200 wasn't no continent, all white. Europe named after a black woman, alright. Grafted, it come from us, do your research. Go within, quit listening to the teacher. And the Nuki got voice coming out the speaker. Cut off trees down and made us weaker. Really they foreign or the shit gets deeper. Whites don't know where whites come from either. I'm Aborigine, we come from the ether. Ruling over us in our land, that's evil. Being colonized right now, black people. Prisoner of the war, that's why it ain't equal. Everybody don't be no sheeple. Freedom ain't free, really freedom is illegal. And we can't get mad at this. Whites act like we can't see their advantages. Privileges real, they working in management. Low down dirty, but they calling us savage. They want you to think they above us. All white people are part-time judges. I ain't no racist, but I ain't no sucker. I ain't no African, but they my brothers. Been lied to, I got built up anger. We built everything, still waiting on the savior. Don't call yourself black, please do me that favor. Black tourmaline will protect you from a hater. Listening to your oppressors is dangerous. Gave us a Bible and stole our nation. Said we couldn't read what we didn't know the language. Kept us on paper because we didn't see the danger. American Indian, keep the religion. vision. Skin copper color look just like a penny. Want it all land and you call that sketchy. Ain't no Democrats there to get to pay attention. We got ancestors, but the papers is missing. Kings and queens, we just can't remember. Remember who you are, just like Simba. Now they got a vax, we don't want that either.
Swear we gon' die every day. They said Jesus gon' save us. Well, I know we die if we wait. I know we die if he can't. They tell us we black, but we ain't. Aboriginal, native, yeah, we gon' die every day. Cause we don't know where we came.
We been here, lived here, open borders, got deported, fought for rights. Kidnapped, bitch slapped, blacked out, covered up, washed white. Drugged up, slugged up, beat bread, left for dead, fuck your life. It's all a plan, kill your man, take your land, slave your kids, rape your wife. Why y'all look so mad if all this shit I say is true? Why y'all look so mad if all this shit happen to you? White man quick to tell you, you was a slave, nothing before. But he himself only been free since 1840. Young recording, I'm an ancient Egyptian from Atlantis, headed straight for Canada, that's Israel. Nothing fake about me, no capping rapping, I just fed the ink and I'm digital. No caveman, I'm original. Kentucky fried, extra crispy, wear a lot of gold, cause my family history, I'm the guy to know I bring.
Feeling like I'm sorry. I don't need no driver license. Just a beauty like a
I can squeeze this in real quick. Blackjack, let's go.
feeling like I'm sorry. I don't need no driver license. Just a beauty like a license. Let the ride or die and steal the show. You know they tried to drown me in MIT, but I'm alive, they can't bury me. Now I'm wealthy and scholarly. Walk on the sea like I'm JC. Now I'm doing bigger, better. I'm changing atmospheres, levitating. The meditation clears the mind. Keep it so clear. Don't you let them use you. Keep your weapon near. Celebration is the only way out here. You gotta be tired of dying and burying people out here. I know it's hard cause they shoot first. They pull up, yeah, they click clack, they do dirt. They go home, they no get back. But they can't bother me, nah. Cause I'm not property. This is essential. Yeah, this is the mission, yeah. To be free and clear. Living off the levee like a trillionaire. This the mission. I ain't gotta care. Living on my dream and killing all the nightmares, yeah. Fire!
Yeah, you listening to Super Blaze. Let's go.
This could take quite a bit of time.
Bang, bang, bang.
Pardon my autonomy. I know one day they'll honor me. This ain't pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy. Self-determination, controlling our situation. Ain't no more indoctrination from pale faces. How the fuck you butt me and broke but a pale racist? My lineage for people of color with a left make each nigga. This right here maroon, now it ain't burgundy. If you plot murder, I'm certain that you'll need surgery. Hurt from when the burner squeeze. Protecting tribe business. Only consulting with governments tried to tribe with it. Please don't confuse us with those considered native. Semi-autonomy never was in our nature. Just address me as Estelusti. Wild Indian status and Cherokees riding broochies. In my war bonnet, if you want it, bring it to your region. And black forces the same color the European. Pardon my autonomy. I know one day they'll honor me. This ain't pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy. Self-determination, controlling our situation. Ain't no more indoctrination from pale faces.
Aborigines, which means what? Black folks. But you never find a white aborigine. Aborigines are called natives, or they're always dark-skinned people. You and I are aborigines, but you don't like to be called an aborigine.
Bang, bang, bang. Bang, bang, bang. Drop a bomb on it real quick, Blaze. Campaign mix, 8 to 9 o'clock. Mixcloud and YouTube. You already know what it is. You know, man, listen here. Last week we had a great show. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the folks that pulled up for Maroonville. Maroonville. You know what I mean? We live, www.musicmedialounge.com. It's your boy Mac Ether, Jeweler Campaign. The harsh reality is live life autonomously. Shout out to the party, the autonomous party. You know what I mean? Tap in. BSB, Got a Green, Baron P, Firebird, obviously, Blaze, and you know, all the other folks that's a part of the party. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the social club and everybody else, you know what I mean, that we got going on and supporting what we got going on as a party. You know what I'm saying? It's the last actually build of the year too, you know what I'm saying? Next week we're gonna just be exclusively on Mixcloud, you know what I'm saying? Because of the music situation. So I need for you to make sure you check into that for next week because we just gonna be playing music. We're gonna be building a little bit, but it's gonna be a lot of music. So we're not gonna be you know what I'm saying, moving a certain way. God, I think Blaze trying to I think you gotta plug in. Cool. Right? That's what we're dealing with. We in the studio, it's the action. You know what I mean? You live with us. You live with you wherever you at in the nation. You know what I'm saying? Wherever you at internationally. You know what I mean? Locally, shout out to Lauderdale, Broward County 954. You already know what it is. You know what I mean? Shout out to all my people wherever you might be located at. Obviously, shout out to, you know, all my Aboriginal people because the last week's panel discussion was obviously highlighting that. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, indigenous people. Some people might like to say Indian, American Indian, whatever make you comfortable, right? At the same time, Black Indian, I like to say too. Maroons. Shout out to my Maroons out there. Estelusti Macario to you, Maranatha. You know what I mean? You were gonna pull up the link. Are we gonna pull up the what happened? Okay, you can pull me up though. I'm ready. You can get it in. So yeah, yo, we got our guests, you know what I'm saying, our party members, you know what I'm saying, Tecumseh, Nine Ether, you know what I'm saying, we're gonna get straight to it. Estelusti Part 2. Excuse me, Part 3. From Babylon to America Part 2. See how I like that work? Then the series is gonna break off in the new year, Babylon to America. Shout out to Nine Ether. We've been trying to kind of get this in this year. We ain't get to it, but you know, this is us kind of breaking into it. So flashes of it's gonna be tied to that series you most probably see in the new year, tied to it, you know what I mean? So it's gonna just probably be by itself. But it's kind of tied to some things we felt we want to walk out and show a connection to the Estelusti situation, turn Lusty. You know what I mean? If you've been following the series, you know what I mean? Part 1, Estelusti Part 1 and 2. Obviously, we did a joint called the Almora Garcon. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to 90 again. That's going to come up in a second. Who did the El Negro series and did the genealogy on folks like Yaya El Negro and his family. So all this is going to be kind of connected tonight, and we're going to make a connection. But at the same time, you know, we're moving forward into the future, and we're just laying down some foundational things by tying all this together in this conversation. You know what I'm saying? I know there's a debate always on social platforms about, you know, Pan-African, the Pan-Indian, the Moor versus Indian. You know, Indians don't like to be called Moors, and Moors don't like to be called Indians, kind of thing going on out there. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I heard, and I think that both groups just need to acknowledge that, you know what I'm saying, this term Mar, I say Mar. See, on our side, Maranatha, we say Mar. We don't say Moor, M-O-R, but we understand because of the Blackamoor. Shout out to them Jacobite folks and people coming out of Europe that were connected to Swarthy situations. And we've shown that already. You know, if you go back to a lot of joints, we've posted these sources and show how these terms work out to be. You feel me? But still, you're going to pull up. Give me the first joint. Maranatha to everybody that's pulled up. Peace. Some people say shalom. You know what I'm saying? And all the various forms, Islam, all that good stuff. You know what I mean? Halito, Kanha Napi. Shout out my man Opie Miha. You know what I'm saying? But yo, Maranatha to you. On this side of it, it says here, at the coming of the Lord, our Bible word from Greek Maranatha, a Greek form of an untranslated Aramaic Semitic word in 1 Corinthians 16:22, where it follows Greek anathema, with which it has no grammatical connection, and therefore has been taken as part of a phrase, peace to you, brother, which is used as a curse. It says, see, be safe. Anathema, the Aramaic word, has been explained as our Lord come thou, or our Lord has come. Apparently, the psalm formula confirmation like Amen, but possibly it is a false translation of Hebrew Moharam Ata. You are put under the ban. Pay attention to that word ban. That's kind of like similar to you've been exiled. You know, see me? Which would make sense in context, as it says right after I kind of said that. You know, I mean, can you go to anathema though? 'Cause I want to give him that anathema part because it's tied to this Babylonian situation that we been going over right there. Yeah, the curse part. Anathema. This is an accursed thing from Latin or Ladino. Anathema, an excommunicated person, the curse, the excommunication from ecclesiastical Greek, anathema, a thing accursed, a slight variation of classical Greek anathema, which meant merely a thing devoted, literally a thing set up, such as votive offering in a temple, from the ana, and it says up. It says by the time it reached late Latin, the meaning of the Greek word had progressed through thing devoted to evil to thing accursed or damned. Then it was applied to persons and the divine curse. The meaning, the act or formula, excommunicating and co-signing and damnation and ecclesiastical authority. And this is from 1610s. You know what I mean? That's not the time frame even using the term and time frame of King James, right? The Bible, 1611. So, you know, this term is being used, though, even way anathema, you know what I'm saying? And it's tied to a historical context. But I'm going to bring our guest up and they back there before I pull up the next source. But I want to say Moran's to everybody else. And I'm going to show you why I'm saying it, because it can be used as a greeting. And I greet people that way. So I think our Lord has come. We got to deal with the time that we're in. And it might not be certain peace and totality as far as certain things goes until, you know, some people are reconciled, as they say, repaired, etc. Restitution, terms like that. You know, those who have been, you know, disenfranchised in modern day time, that's tied to this land from the beginning before it was even started. But at the same time, you know me, I'm just making sure you get the understanding of what I'm putting down with this anathema tied to the term Maranatha. And now that our guest pulled up real quick before I go to the next source. What up, Tecumseh? What up, Nine? Peace to y'all.
Yo, what's good, y'all? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you good.
What's happening? What's happening?
Anna, you can hear me?
Yeah, I hear you good too.
What up, Tecumseh, Mac Ether? Let's go.
Let's get it. So, pull up the next joint real quick so we can move along and get to the good stuff. I just want to get this Marana thing because I'm going to show a source right after that. Coming back to back. Shout out to Big L earlier. We was listening to one of his joints. Big L was going back to back with it. You heard me? That boy be kicking. We got to go back and listen to him. Hip hop, man, them days. Whew. However, you know, make it a little bigger for them because people got questions. They want answers. What does Maranatha mean? Once again, this is just another source outside of the etymology, right? See, the etymology gave you that other term, anathema, to give you the context of what's going on. And now you got to understand in the time frame where this term is being used and who's accursing them. Who are they in a ban underneath? What jurisdiction are they underneath this time frame with this context? Well, Maranatha is an Aramaic word that means the Lord is coming or come, O Lord. The early church faced much persecution and life for Christian under Roman rule. Was not easy. The Romans required everyone to declare that Caesar was God. The early Christians knew that there was only one God and one Lord. And at this time, they're not even using this term, Jesus Christ. They would be saying Yahshua HaMashiach. And it says, and in all good conscience, they could not call Caesar Lord. So the Romans looked upon them as traitors, persecuted them. See, that's that anathema part, right? That's that anathema right there, persecuted them, put them to death, you know what I'm saying? Accursed them, damnations. Living under those adverse conditions, the believers' morale was lifted by the hope of the coming of the Lord. Maranatha. Became the common greeting of the oppressed believers, replacing the Jewish greeting, Shalom, peace. Followers of Yahshua, I'm not going to say Jesus, knew there would be no peace because Joshua, Jesus, had told them so. And in Matthews, and give you some verses there, right? But they also knew the Lord would be returning to set his kingdom, set up his kingdom. And from that truth, they drew great comfort. They were constantly reminding and being reminded that the Lord is coming. In different parables, it says underneath there, and the return of him. And that's where the whole Messiah part actually comes into play at in this time frame when this term is being used. 1 Corinthians 16:20. And Paul in certain time frame, but it goes back even further than that, see, because Paul and them is a certain time frame, and this word is tied to a people who are being accursed, tied to a kingdom that they were exiled from, not off of religion, based off of descent. Because you can read the story and they can truly tell you that even their highest power people, majority of them, were not following their purity of their creed, however the case might be. Can we get the next joint? What y'all think about that? Well, as I pull the next joint, 9 and Tecumseh.
Yeah, I'm on point. I think everything on point. What you saying? I'm following.
Yeah, it's lined up.
Right. So Roman is this time frame, right? In the Roman situation, is not the first group of people that's this term Maranatha is tied to going back to Babylon. See, but I want to give you the term because as we say peace to you when I greet you as Maranatha, I want you to understand why too. You know what I'm saying? In the context of certain things and situations of what we self-identify because of what happened to our people who's been disenfranchised and this time we living in the 21st century. However the case, let me get the next joint. I think that this is where it puts the word Maran Utter. Because people might say, well, man, in the etymology, you see people were kind of like going back and forth with it, right? But as I showed you in the time frame where they knew that they were not going to call Julius Caesar their God, obviously at this time frame they would choose Jesus Christ or Yahshua HaMashiach to be their savior in this situation rather than Julius Caesar. However the case, the title that would go in front of Yahshua HaMashiach or his name at the time would be Moran. See, that word Moran is synonymous with Lord or Master. And the Lord Master part is in Aramaic, we would say Moran in its oldest source. Now, look, I want you to see something. And this is for those who will be running around saying, and I heard somebody say it the other day very popularly. He was, loud and wrong, but at the end, the term more being tied to Islam in its origin or Muslims in its origin. Muhammad and them don't come around until 600 AD. So in Babylon, this term is being used. All right. So this term, Mar, written with a silent yod, Jewish, Babylonian, Aramaic. So I'm letting you know we in Babylon. Also M-O-R, which is more. In Western Syriac, which is basically the Eastern Roman side language that those people were speaking and how they was be self-identified. It's an Aramaic word meaning Lord, see? So now Moran, shortened, Mar, more, Lord. Feminine version, lady. Feminine, lady, masculine, Lord. Titles of nobility. like a bishop would be considered that even. And it goes again, is the title of reverence in Sierra Christianity where the title is placed before the Christian name. So whatever your name is, and today in English, you put Mr. and Mrs. And that's today common day, you know what I mean? Like Christian name, whatever your Christian anglicized, they say anglicized name. But when you was converted into their system and you got a title of nobility, you know what I'm saying? Then it would address you as Mar or Moran in front of your name. As you see it as example, as Mar Ephraim or Mor Ephraim, Ephraim the Syrian, Marth, Morth, Miriam, like Mary. It is the giving of all saints that was martyred, or like with the M-A-R, martyred, right? M-R is in there, right? But then it says also used instead of most revered, just before the name and religion taken by bishops. See what I'm saying? James the Just, time frame of Peter, Paul, but it's Paul that 1 Corinthians 16:22 is tied to. And at the same time, the bishop at that time would be James the Just, and his name would be Moran Yaakov HaSadiq. But in English, they would say James the Just. Sadiq to be just, righteous, etc. However, the title Moran, see Moran, More / Moran, Maran, Mar, is given to the Catholic. I want people to see the Catholic joint because we've been talking about this for the last couple of weeks. Hit on that real quick. Let them see that. And the Catholic is synonymous. This is before there was popes, by the way. And since the Catholic is the head of a certain churches and some Eastern traditions, Christian traditions, the title implies I mess that word up all the time, autocephalia. And in some cases, it is the title of the head of an autonomous church. Shout out to the party, right? And then it says the word comes from the ancient Greek derived from, and from meaning concerning, and we're going to leave it alone. But just know that it is synonymous with the term Catholic. And then you see the word primate. It's another interesting term you might want to know in this ecclesiastical diction of talk. It says is a title or rank bestowed on some important archbishops in certain Christian churches. Depending on particular tradition, it can denote either jurisdictional authority or usually ceremonial presidents. So this is just all within that ecclesiastical system. But in Aramaic and Syriac, which is obviously before Arabic, by the way, this term Mar, is being used as a title of nobility. And obviously, the people that were getting excommunicated out of a certain area, scroll down real quick. And then I'm gonna let y'all two tap in on this. Want to make sure they really gets this, make sure that they ain't tripping. Now go down to the Judaic joint. And that's the one that gets really more specific, being that Christianity don't come before Judaism. Judaism obviously before that. And obviously inside of this, they only give you three with the term Mar, the Aramaic, Syriac, they give you three different joints: Judaism, Mandeism, and Christianity. They do not give you even Islam because Islam at this time is not around. So the word more in its origin goes back to Aramaic, as we shout out to Lee Cummins and obviously pointed out that the term blackamoor, we said the original language of the blackamoor was Aramaic. If y'all remember that, we had a whole build on it with Lee. And obviously this blackamoor, before you even had to put the black on it tied to the Europeans coming over, the term Mar by itself, M-O-R by itself, is going to denote like Mr. and Mrs. today, but anciently at that time, Mishnah Hebrew, today, this Aramaic word is pronounced Mar. They give you the Hebrew way of saying it, but it's still pronounced Mar. And it is used as a formal way of addressing or referring to a male person, meaning this is how they're describing people. You see what I'm saying? At this time. Mar. What up, dude? Mar. Back at that time frame. When it got to Christianity, it became a title of nobility in certain ranking positions in that system of religion. But before that, it goes back to just a male person or a female person. Mar and Mari. Going in Babylonian time frame. After they're kicked out of their kingdom, which is the kingdom of Yehudi. And then it's going to say Mar was also the title of the Exilarch. And, the leader of the Jewish diaspora community in Babylon. See, we back at Babylon. So to make sure you know we ain't capping, and that with the Aramaic-speaking Jews sharing many cultural attributes with the Syriac Christians in Hebrew, modern Hebrew, contemporary Israel, is just again Mar, is used without distinction for any male person like Mr. in English. However, rabbinical circles of Jews from the Middle East, the Aramaic variant, form Moran, Aramaic, our Lord, Maranatha to you, is a title used for highly appreciated rabbis such as, you know, the rest is there for you to, you know, hopefully you interpret and understand and comprehend what is being presented to you and origins of where the term and who were the first Mars. You know what I'm saying? 90 to Tecumseh, y'all got anything to say about this so far? I'm going to get through this so we can get to the, you know, I want to make sure everybody's up to date with the Babylonian part, though, in this situation. What y'all got on this? Anything I want to say?
Nah, keep cooking.
Yeah,
Give me
I
the
ain't
next
really
joint.
got nothing to add to that.
Give me the next joint. All right, give me the next joint then. I want to walk it down so I can get y'all. I'm gonna let y'all take off. But I want to make sure if there's anything I want to add to it, you know, maybe I'm slipping or something. Let me know. You know what I mean? I'm giving everybody a time frame, and everybody can see it for themselves. You feel me? Titles of talking about more goes back to only Islam. You caught up on Noble Drew Ali or something. I understand that, but you know, over here dealing with this term maroon, and I can't front that the term maroon got MAR in it, right? I obviously would know. I ain't gonna self-identify and not know the origin of where this, excommunicated term goes back to. It's Yahud, also known as Yahud Medina. Now, a lot of y'all gonna be jocking this after y'all watch this joint tonight. I know. Medina Atta, kind of like how the other joint was saying, like Atta. You know what I'm saying? Alhambra, like what's the what joint? What just did we just pulled up? See, yeah, Atta. Medinata. See, Medinata. And you gotta look at the word Atta part though. You know what I mean? Because when we pulled up the joint, the first joint, with the Maranatha, and it's the Anahim. What's the joint that was? See, that always mess up that other word that's in it. Anahim. You know what I'm talking about? Let me pull it up. Let me make sure I ain't tripping. I'm tongue tied with these words sometimes myself. The word that's within the definition of Maranatha. Let me make sure I get it for you because there's a connection here. And I know I'm saying it wrong. So I'm gonna humble myself. I'm just gonna make sure here you see this. Because this part needs, all right, so then the word ATA on here. Now the word Medina, some people say, oh, Medine or Medine, or Medine is a situation, right? But the word Atta, ATA, is like this right here, Maran Atta, ATHA. You see what I'm saying? So ATHA tied to Maranatha, right? Which is going to be tied to the anathema. You know what I'm saying? The anathema is because of the fact that the Yahud of Medina Atta are in a position, even though they have, you see that word autonomy there, though. You always see autonomy there, though. It was an autonomous administrative province of the Achaemenid Persian Empire. See? So it's underneath a jurisdiction. It's not the Romans yet, though. See, it's before the Romans with the Maranatha and Julius Caesar situation. But it says it was one of the several such provinces in Palestine, with other being Moab, Ammon, Gilead, Samaria, Ashdod, and Dumia, constituting the fifth Persian Strathi and Ibernari. See that word, Ibernari. This is located in Judea, Yehuda. It continued to exist for 2 centuries before it was incorporated into the Hellenistic empires. So we get that word Hellenistic from. You know what I mean? It was incorporated into it. It says following the wars of Alexander the Great. See, after the fall of Babylon in 539 BCE, the Neo-Babylonian Empire was annexed by the Persians. The Persians province of Yahud succeeded the earlier Babylonian province of Yahud, which was formed after the Babylonians conquered the kingdom of Yehuda, following the Jewish-Babylonian War. Due to the lingering effects of the Babylonian captivity, the province had a considerably smaller population than that of the fallen Israelite kingdom. The Yehud Medinata was the Aramaic language name of the province, and it was first introduced by the Babylonians during the governance of the same region prior to the Persian conquest. So I'm gonna stop right there. And now, and I know because of certain things, is something you want to say about any of this right here and how this is correlating to, the fall of the kingdom of Yehuda? You or Tecumseh, just off this part?
No, it's definitely correlating into the fall of Yehuda and those Babylonian exilarchs that held those. Like you said, even with the exilarchs, they also gave them that title, M-A-R, Mar. And you can see that title run through history, even with the Britons. They used the form M-O-R, which just meant great. So you have the more apps of Britain at that same time. So you would see multiple M-A-Rs, M-A-O-Rs, M-A-W-H, Mar, I mean M-A-W-R, Mar, in the Celts. So all through that, you have that Mar title.
Mormare too. Don't forget that one.
Yeah, Marman, which was part of the Exilarchs too. Wasn't he he's from Mars Ultra, Marman.
Shoot, we're talking, I think he was talking about just the title in general. You know what I'm saying? The more mayor, like the dukes and the earls up there in Scotland, their terms of nobility, they would use more mayor as an overall premise for duke, earl, sir, baron, you know what I mean? And all them titles of their nobilities tied to that, you know what I mean? The region of culture and stuff, of blackamoors. However, you know what I mean? This, can you, it's like, it's something scrolling over the thing, covering it. So, you know, funny enough, the late 7th century BCE, Judah became the vassal kingdom. So I want people to understand that. The Neo-Babylonian Empire, but there was a rival faction of the court in Jerusalem. So it's going to give you some names. It's giving you the context of what's and how this whole, you know, background of how this place ends up in the position on the term Yahud Medina Atta is being applied. You know what I'm saying? So it's letting you know that in this time frame, 7th century, vassal kingdom. Vassal means, you know, you're not in control. And then it says Nebuchadnezzar. And then obviously you see Jeremiah, and it's just different situation. Jacon revolted against Nebuchadnezzar II. The revolt failed. And in 597 BCE, many Jewites, including the prophet Ezekiel, were exiled to Babylon. A few years later, Judah revolted yet again. In 589, Nebuchadnezzar again besieged Jerusalem, and many Jews fled to Moab, Ammon, and Edom. Others continued to seek refuge, like refugees. Like you say, don't they say Maroons are like refugees? You know what I'm talking about? Didn't they use that in the joint with when they did the freedmen's joint with the barrel? They had refugees and freedmen in it. Okay, but anyways, they still are besieged Jerusalem and all that good stuff. So obviously, this is just to let you know, former kingdom of Judah then became a Babylonian province, Yahud. And that's from that point on. This term Moran, Exilarchs is tied in. And we gonna slide. What's the next source before we go into the next one? And Tecumseh, man, you got that timestamp for that joint, man? I mean, because I want people to see something what you got going on. You can get rid of that. You know what I mean? Because I'm ready to go in. I want to make sure everybody just got that Babylonian part out the way. Okay.
For which one?
For the Inquisition joint, the series you did, and the part that covered Theodoric, because you know, I just laid out the whole Babylonian part, Yahudi being called now Marans or Mars. You know what I'm saying? Does anybody on that's here disagree with that of what I've laid out as far as Yahudi going from Yahudi to being called Mars? You know what I'm saying?
Nah, that actually lines up perfectly. It was probably about to come out between both of us.
Nah, Anita, what about you?
It definitely lines up. You're gonna play the video?
I mean, I'm seeing if Tecumseh did you have to, you know, got the timestamp for it, we could throw it up.
Yeah, he put it in the back.
Okay, we're ready to go. So I want to walk us into another, you know, get us a little more earlier in, because there's stuff that, you know, as we're saying, we're trying to get from Babylon to America, showing these markers, markers, right? And the people and people that's exclude, you know, being exiled, following after exilarchs. And I know, you've covered the El Negro series with Yahya El Negro tied to an Exlark situation. We seen the Mars there. You know what I mean? What now the Mars that's tied to Tecumseh situation is what I want to highlight within this traveling situation. Because Portugal, or before it was called Portugal, you kind of showed that connection and who's involved with it. You know what I mean? Coming into play of a province itself. You know what I mean? At that time. Am I right about that? Before I play the video, or Tecumseh, is anything you want to say before we play the video? Let me play it first. Let me go in.
Yeah, we can play the video and then we can go on to what we're about to go into.
All right. Let's play the video and we'll be right back. Check it out.
1920s, archaeologists in Tucson, Arizona found objects and writings in Latin, Greek, and Hebrew with both Catholic and Jewish ritual objects and symbols. Cyclone Covey describes this discovery in his book, Kalalus, a Roman Jewish colony in America from the time of Charlemagne through Alfred the Great. In this area specifically, and other areas in the Americas, are found mixtures of Jewish, Nordic, Christian, Hindu, and Kabbalistic objects and symbols. The records of Kalalus speak of a Theodorus, a man who led a group of people to the land of Kalalus in 775 AD. Theodorus in reality is the king of Septimania, a Roman Jewish state in southern France, also known as Gaul or Armorica. He is the son of the first Israelite king of Septimania, also called Theodoric, Theory, or Amiri. Similar to the appellation of Simri that we referred to earlier, right? Theodorus is also known as Theodoric, king of Saxony, and as Namus, duke of Bavaria. He and his brother were great warriors during the time of Charlemagne. Professor Arthur Zuckerman, in his book, A Jewish Princedom in Feudal France, confuses him with his father, who bears the same Frankish name of Theodoric and Emiri. On the death of his father, Makir Theodoric, in about 765 AD, Nehemiah Theodoric becomes the Western Exarch and leader of all Jews of the revived Western Roman Empire of Charlemagne. In 775 AD, Theodoric reconquered the American empire Kalalus from the indigenous people, which was at the time ruled by Sylvanus Toltexes, or nicknamed by them Solomon the Builder.
You wanted to play a little bit more Tecumseh? Is that good? What you think? I want to let you take off. I mean, because it's a lot of people got to go check out that joint, Inquisition Part 3, y'all. Terra Sancta, if you don't know. I mean, that's the joint that kind of led us to. We're going to put some things together for you tonight with this. But Tecumseh, it's on you.
Yeah, I mean, that's good enough in that part. If you're going to put it on me, I do want to play another clip from the Amora real quick so I can summarize what I'm about to go into. But it's connected to the same situation for real. But I got the timestamp for that one in the back too.
Got you. We playing that next then. Bet. We'll go back to back. Tap in.
In it and out of it, in whatever way they could possibly do it. And then you got the great kings. All these kings are really set up through those bloodlines we were speaking about, and this phony bloodline in the so-called, if you want to go in Merovingian bloodline through Mary Magdalene and Yeshua, it would be Theo Ramo Joseph. He would be the first Despani on that side, but they had Despanis, like he said, on Justice side. Every one of their kids was considered a certain name, and they were all part of this Grail Kings and hiding of the Holy Grail, which is just the ancient bloodline. So I'm aligned with it.
Okay. Now, I want to say both of y'all real quick, though, because I'm just going to stick to the Aramaic Amora entitlement, Exarch or not, right? These titles in Aramaic, James the Just, and other people I know that Nine Ethers obviously exposed the title Mar is there. That's tied to this understanding of interpretation of the law, or in a position of title of nobility, in a vassal position or whatnot. But however the case might be, it's still there in Aramaic translation of a position of a James the Just who has Mar in front of his name, or like Yahshua Hamashiach, who in Christians would call Jesus Christ, would have the term Moran in front of his name from the Aramaic standpoint. What y'all think about that? Yeah, what y'all think about that? Is that all you want to play? We got more.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, that's actually cool because it played a little more than I thought it would. But
Nah, what about
you
you, real quick?
actually
Before we slide
said,
on. I mean, it's Tecumseh. It's still on you. I just want to make sure that part is tied
He
into
can
if you're going
go
on
in
with that.
because it's all aligned, so he can go in.
Okay, go ahead though, Tecumseh. I want to just make sure that right there. Some people don't understand that part. So these titles. Go ahead though, Amora.
All right. So now also I'm happy you just said that. Keep in mind too of the time period of all these, like even when you read who the Armorium are according to the history, their time period is essentially from what you would consider like 200 AD up until 500 AD. And all of this is taking place during that time period. But it's saying here, when investigating ancient lineages and some lineages from the early Middle Ages, genealogists sometimes come across a line that sometimes trace back to Abraham. All such lines are somewhat conjectural and are based on various genealogies that have been taken from biblical material or other ancient texts. While there are a number of experts who claim that these lineages are purely mythical and therefore unsatisfactory, I think we'll find at some point that the lines are more accurate than previously thought. What is surprising is the number of different threads that exist from Abraham into Western Europe and the different paths they take. Several different threads are intertwined in the Merovingian families of Francia, two pass from Egypt through Ireland into either Wales or Scotland. A third line comes directly from the Exilarchs, the leader of the Jewish community in exile after the diaspora in Babylon. This thread goes directly into what is now southern France, where descendants marry into noble families of the region. In addition, I've shown lines with two variants from Abraham's Islamic descendants that pass through Spain into the nobility there and thence into the nobility of Europe. All right. So the reason I wanted to read that, let me jump over to this other one that actually, as a matter of fact, dude, that's actually good.
I bet. So you want to take off?
Yeah. So I guess in summary, what we've been touching on is these Jews, in so many words, that's in Europe. We're finding these Jews that are either in Europe who have been exiled to different regions of Europe, who've been exiled to different regions of what we call now West Africa, or they're being sent over to the Americas, right? Because when you look at it for real, you witness like the expulsion of all these Jews. You have the expulsion of Jews in France in 1306, Spain in 1492, England 1290, Portugal 1496. They don't say one happens in Scotland, but that happens in 1649 with Oliver Cromwell. You feel me? So when you starting to really follow this history and you tracing it back as far as how they got this information, you really start to conclude that they're getting information as far as routes to get to the Americas from groups who were here prior. So really all I want to touch on is a group tonight called the Rodenites. Give me a second. I'll present something. Let's see. Let me know if y'all can see it.
Yeah, we good.
Okay, boom. So I want to show y'all the name of it. Merchant Adventure, Kings of Rhoda, The Strange World of the Tucson Artifacts, 775 to 990. And this is by Donald N. Yates. So I'm gonna just read like the preview part of it real quick.
Boy Yates.
So extraordinary events were taking place in the year of 775. Baghdad was the capital of the world, which formed for the first time in history an international ecommune and unified trading zone. At this exact moment, a group of Gallo-Roman traders and Frankish expeditionary forces, including Jews from Brittany, Wales, and Gaul, called Rodenites or Rhodanites, set sail from Rome's port to voyage to Egypt, Palestine, and Persia, seeking the fabled riches of terra incognita beyond India and China. So real quick, I want to go to another link just to touch on that term Gallo-Roman real quick. A second. And I'm gonna hop right back to that screen. Let me know when y'all can see it.
Yep.
All right, so boom. Gallo-Roman culture was a consequence of the Romanization of Gauls under the rule of the Roman Empire. It was characterized by the Gaulish adaptation of Roman culture, language, morals, and way of life in a uniquely Gaulish context. The well-studied male of cultures in Gaul gives historians a model against which to compare and contrast parallel developments of Romanization in other less studied Roman provinces. So I'm gonna jump down real quick because the part that I want is really here. Into the 7th century, Gallo-Roman culture would persist, particularly in the areas of Gallia Narbonensis that developed in Octania, Cisalpine Gaul, and Orlanus, and to a lesser degree, Gallia Aquitania. The formerly Romanized northern Gaul, once it had been occupied by the Franks, would develop into the Merovingian culture instead. So really the point that I wanted to read all that is showing how this, what they're saying, is Gallo-Roman connection of people. They got that direct connection to the Merovingians. They also have that Gaelic connection to these people. So I really just wanted to show what that is specifically. Now going back to that link. Wait a second. All right, let me know when y'all can see it again.
Yep.
All right. It was 700 years after the fall of Jerusalem and the destruction of the Jewish state under the Romans. Now the Holy Land was a protectorate under Charlemagne, the son of Pepin. Commerce was booming. Knowledge and science were about to enter upon a renaissance. The papal state sprang into existence to last another 1,000 years. Charlemagne had just conquered Italy and allied himself with both the Byzantine and the Abbasid Caliphate. The illiterate 6-foot-tall, squeaky-voiced Frank, who adopted the name David, was about to go through as many wives and concubines as his biblical namesake, was 30 years old, a steely leader. He had a brilliant career of ruthless conquest and canny political maneuvers before him. One would make him the first Holy Roman Emperor and earn him the title of posterity of Father of Europe, as well as ensure his place as the foremost hero in the Nansen epic literature of France, Italy, Spain, and Germany, the so-called Mater of France, or Chansons de Geste. Mercantile empires were forming in Central Asia. Revolution had toppled the Umayyad Caliphate, replacing it with the Abbasids under Al-Mansur. Baghdad was considered the world's most powerful and sophisticated metropolis. Harun al-Rashid, who would find the famed House of Wisdom there, a research center to rival the ancient library of Alexandria. The Tang dynasty ruled in China and soon reached the zenith of its innovative and creative contributions to the world civilization. Both the Tang capital and the major port at Canton number over 1 million inhabitants within their city walls. By 900, much of this cultural and economic upsurge was gone, erased by the hand of history in catastrophic developments that swept the Christians as well as the Arab world and extended from west to the east. as the elderly Oliver and Kalelu signed the last entries and inscribed his final surviving words on artifacts exhumed in Arizona more than a millennium later, civil war gripped the Toltec colonies in ancient Mexico. Violent northern tribes wiped out Roman Rhoda in a single day. So I could keep going, but the essence of what I'm getting at is this group of people that they call Rodenites is a mixture of these groups of people that we're calling Amorium, who are in all of these different areas, and they're known as traders. They're Roman traders who are in all of these different regions, right? So when we start to look at this connection of like the Amorgarcacan or the Estelusti, and we start to see, okay, well, these people had these Gaelic cognates in their language family, as well as these Aramaic cognates in their language families. We also know that most of these groups, particularly even on the East Coast, they were traders. They primarily dealt with trading. Like you can look at, for an example, most of the tribes in South Carolina, you can look at the Yuchi and how the Yuchi directly were dealing with the Scottish and how they directly had situations with George Dolphin or Golfin, my bad. You can look at the Micmac. You can look at all of these Eastern tribes who have these situations that it somewhat seems like when you historically look at it, they had connections with these groups of people prior. And it's because these groups of people who were here prior were under this Roman situation and they were known as Rodenites. Before I continue, I wanted to touch on any of that.
Shit, I think you lined that up. I ain't got nothing to say on it. I ain't got nothing to say about that one. Nine Ether, you got something on that? Shit.
Now, the only thing I would add is when he's saying that France, the upper echelon of France, Aquitania would be France. So when you're looking at Theodoric Amory, his bloodline is deeply into Aquitania through Bertha, the Merovingian, who's also Pepe's grandmother. So if you look at the people of the time and the areas, and you can place those areas with genealogy, you will see that Mackay Theodoric, he's directly related to Rolanda of Aquitaine, to Bertha of the Merovingians, and the kings of Burgundy and Austria, which is that same area, southern France, that's above. That would have been Amorica, and Lusitania would be basically right under it. But you see, he also said Narbonne. Theodoric was considered the Judiac of Narbonne. So, like, and Toulouse, which is still that area that we're calling southern France, northern Lusitania, or northern Spain.
I have a term, septimania.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, septimania would be the whole of it. Is septimania showing in what you call it in northern Spain? Is it
well, they're
showing
saying
that
it's southern France. They're saying southern France, northern Spain, but I'm gonna see southern France. It says septimania, historical region in modern day southern France. It referred to the western part of the Roman province of Gallia. You see, Narbonne, Ennis.
Yeah, so that would be in between. Septimania would be controlling. They're saying that's Narbonne and Aquitaine, because Aquitaine would be southwest, Narbonne would be southeast. So that house. Right. Okay, I see it over there. You just had it up there. Yeah, that's deep southeast. You see where that blue line is to the left? That would be Aquitaine on the left.
Mm-hmm.
But he's the king of that whole area, because they don't have the name France, Spain, and Portugal at this time in the 700s.
Exactly. There's none of that.
Tecumseh, where he's
Gallia. Right. That's really Gallia, where it says Kingdom of France. That's Gallia, right? Because Gallia is in between that yellow part where it says Basque, right? On other maps, it's Lusitania. You know what I mean? So Lusitania is where that Basque part really can show, if you showed another map. And then the part of Gallia is sitting right between Armorica and Gallia, and then Gallia, which became Gaul. You know what I mean? Which later, obviously, the Kingdom of France You know what I mean? And all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
You know?
that would be Franconia, actually, before it
Mm-hmm.
become France or whatever the case may be. And Clovis too, King of the Franks. Um, Mackay is like 4 generations away from him. Not even like 2, 3. Has an uncle. So it's that same area, Franconia, Mazu, that whole area, Burgundy, Orleans, and Tuscany, which makes, you said, Tucson, Arizona, Roman
Right.
colony.
That's right.
Over
Right.
there, they have their own Tuscany or Tuscan. But we'll
Hmm.
keep it moving.
I want to show one more thing within this link. Can you click on where it says marsh? You see, we got the word marsh. You know what I'm saying? Oh, also pay attention, Andalusia. You know what I'm saying? Lucian. You know what I mean? That's the region that they invaded from. Versus the region of Septimania was invaded by the Andalusian Muslims in 719, renamed Arbuna, and turned into a military base for future operations by the Andalusian military commanders. It passed briefly to the Emirate of Cordoba, which had been expanding from the south during the same century before the subsequent conquest of the Christian Franks in 759, who by the end of the ninth century named it as Gothia or Gothic Marsh. This is Marca Gothica, however you want to pronounce it. And just click on that part where it comes down to Septimania, it became a marsh. People see that. In medieval Europe, a marsh or mark was a broad terms, any kind of borderland. A mark, right? See, mark, and then marsh, a borderland, as opposed to a national heartland. More specifically, a marsh was a border between realms or neutral buffer zone under joint control of two states in which different laws might apply in both of these senses. Like if you think about the indigenous situation over here with Georgia, at one time being a buffer zone between Spain and the 13 colonies, you know what I'm saying? Like how some people would say certain parts of Louisiana was a buffer zone, right? Or like the swamps,
Facts,
right? Because swamps
facts.
are marshes over in the Carolinas. The Great Dizzle Swamp will be a borderland between Virginia and what's going on in certain areas of another, like, you know what I mean? It's not the heartland part of it, like Philadelphia or Jamestown or Massachusetts. You know what I'm saying? It's the swamp, it's marshes. Mark. I said it wrong. Who? It's hard. So it's still Mark. Okay, see, I'm tripping. Thank you for the he got a green, got me. But either way, we can move on for that. I wanted to make that y'all guys get me plugged that in right away. I can get that out the way. See, that's all I really want to show with that. Tecumseh, I think that all correlates. Theodoric, we got the Theodoric joint. I want to show this to y'all real quick. Then Tecumseh and Nine, I want y'all to kind of like, because you just got through talking about certain titles that's being used, and you brought up Theodoric when you did the joint. You know what I mean? The Inquisition Part 3, Terra Santa. I want to kind of like show this thing I found dealing with the person of Toulouse. Mercure, Theodoric, also known as Duke of Toulouse. Well, it says his time frame is like around the same time when Charlemagne is obviously, the place we were just talking about, Nine and Tecumseh of Septimania, Toulouse, in the areas. This is where the Muslims had kicked out the Gothic people that were there from the 5th century. But then when the Christian, as they say, Romans came back to kind of control this area, you know what I'm saying? Charlemagne is the man that his dynasty, the Franks, you know what I mean? And they are the ones that have also, certain people that help them keep the Muslims out of the situation. So their lineages got recognized in this time frame too, underneath this Christian situation tied to the Franks and Pope Leo, I think it's the third. You know what I'm saying? Y'all following me?
Yep, I'm following.
Definitely.
All right. And inside of this, slide down a little bit, guys. All right, so boom. And here it says, descent of Mercure Theodore descends down the consonants in Toulouse. And it says, in the male line, she married Robert II, King of France, whence come the Cabots, which we all know. Of course, these proposed ancient genealogies are sketchily and often vague, and only rarely can be proven. Even as such, I found them extremely interesting. Consider the Jewish line of King David from Mercure Theodoric to be one of the more plausible genealogies which propose the descent from the biblical characters. I've heard there was a branch of Jewish exilarchs in southern France near this time. Remember, there ain't no France yet, right? This is going into when it becomes France because of Frank's dynasty with Charlemagne and what's going on that this man is underneath. Tied to what you will break it down, Tecumseh, with the the Roman Jewish province that ends up over here in Mexico before there's even an Arizona. You see what I'm saying? Over here, you know what I mean? At that time. But however, you know what I mean? It's literally, it says, here supposed descent Marcure Theodoric from the kings of Judah. There are several versions, some with mission generals, generations. I'm missing generations. I'm tripping. My eyes, cataracts. All right, so now slide down a little bit, guys. I want you to see it. Obviously gonna go through all the most people y'all know for the religious folk out there, all the names like that right there, right? Don't get past that though. Keep coming. They can see it though. Keep coming. Keep coming. Stop right there. You see where that Mar kick in? 9? Mar Ukba, the first.
Mar Akbar, yeah.
You see it, right?
No, you gotta make it a little bigger. I can't see.
You make it bigger? Can it get bigger than that? Let me try. Got my eyes messing with me too. What Bernie Mac say? Give me a little something from a Cadillac. Give me a little something from a Cadillac. All right, boom. Mar Ukba the second. You see it?
What's the year? 1160? No, not 1160.
No. 160 to 240 is the first one.
Yeah,
the first.
yeah.
It's 160 to 240. Now, there is a second, you know what I'm saying? Right after Nehemiah, it says Mar Ukba the second, 285, 337. You know what I'm saying? You see? Then right underneath him, Abba Mari, 320 to 370. You know what I'm saying? And then we're going to come down again. It says Mar Zutra, you know what I'm saying? 380 to 455. Then we got another one, Mar Zutra the second, 470 to 520. A Hunamar, you feel me? A whole bunch of Mar shit going on, you feel me? A lot of Mar shit going on. Walking into this time frame. This time frame.
Yeah, they definitely the exilarchs of the time, and they're giving that name to the exilarchs.
Yeah, they're acknowledging it. Leading into the guy you see at the bottom, Mercure Theodoric Amari of Toulouse. Tecumseh, does that add up to what you were presenting with the joint? And how this is tied our Babylonian walk to America? Because this is literally proof of what you were showing, that Jewish prophets it's Roman because it's underneath Charlemagne, but these people are the exilarch that have been given kind of honors because of what they did on behalf of the Frank dynasty fighting against the Muslims at that time. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It's all connected to these all this black nobility that's scattered around Europe. It's not just France. I mean, we know that it's in Spain, it's in Scotland, it's in Russia, it's all over Europe.
Right. What I got next, real quick? You got anything else you want me to put for? Or you slide it? Got to move it. No.
I can speed through this real quick. That's the part I really wanted to get to in here. The earliest accounts of the Rodanites and their trade routes. The Rodanites were well known in the early medieval period under a variety of names. Most of what we know today about them comes from Islamic sources. Of course, it is no secret that early Islamic caliphates of the period boasted some of the finest and perhaps the only travelers and geographers who left striking accounts of the world during that period. In their sources, the Rodanites were known as Rayonia, or in Hebrew, Radhanim. The exact origins of these names are not precisely known, but most scholars and etymologists agree that the word is of Persian origin, a name given by Islamic travelers to these Jewish traders. It comes from the words Ra, way or path, and Dan, one who knows, meaning those who know the paths. something rather sensible as the name for the traders. Another plausible theory that connects to this term is at the Rodanites' place of origin. Several key sources place their point of emergence in the Rhone Valley in France. In Latin, the river is known as Rhodanus or Rhodanos. In Greek, thus the Rodanites would likely be named by the area from which they came, the valley of the Rhone, as they were also known as French Jews. Then again, some sources name their place of origin in the historical province of Radon near modern Baghdad, which remains like the least likely option. All right, so in that is basically connecting the whole part that we've been bringing out, or I've been bringing out, trying to connect the French, the Merovingian connection part of this. And I got one more part I want to bring out, and I'll wrap it up real quick, kind of leave it on somewhat of a mystery. So in France, there was an expulsion of Jews in 1302. And I'll read it real quick. Can y'all see it?
No, I don't see it.
All right. From the end of the 12th century to the end of the 14th century, the Jews were expelled from France many times, but kept coming back until their final expulsion in 1394. Many theories have been advanced to explain this flux of events, generally considered a necessary part of the transition of the Middle Ages to modern times. Nevertheless, the expulsion of 1306 remains a mystery. It has been mentioned in many sources, Jewish and Christian, but not explained. As a matter of fact, there are not even an edict of expulsion in 1306. The Jews left France under very strange conditions. Now, the part that I wanted to bring out about that is, like, interestingly enough, do you know when the Templars were kicked out of France?
Go ahead and just give it to him.
1307.
Yeah, I was about to say that, and it makes sense because King Philip at that time, he was short on money and asking them for more money for his Flemish campaigns, and they would not cede him no more money. And that's 1305. So now you say 1306 before the real Templar expulsion, because people don't understand the Templars were stationed in France. Their top three stations were France. The other orders were all over the place. But that makes sense through Philip causing certain problems and going to the Pope at that time to do that expulsion. But you're right, it's not spoken about too much.
And I can really land on that. If you want to say no, man?
No, I'm taking it in too. You know how we connecting all these dots. You know what I'm saying? 1300s. You know what I'm saying? Because really just so people won't forget what you really just us highlighting the Inquisition Part 3 and the Terror Santa, which you were breaking down then with Theodore Amari. And I want Nine to kind of like speak on this part. Nine, when you covered Yahya El Negro, and obviously the Exarch lineage that you were walking down in that series, and now we got obviously, Yahya El Negro's tied to what today people will call Portugal, right? You know what I'm saying? But at that time, it wasn't Portugal, it was Lusitania. So now we're seeing how this situation is tied 200 something years ahead of time to another group of exilarchs now that have been given like some kind of autonomy underneath a dynasty, and they're moving around underneath like a charter of a Roman province. So they're technically still in the Mar position. You know what I mean? No, well, at this point, so what? Okay. So, Nine, real quick before we move this into Tecumseh, if you want to say anything about what you got on the screen, and then we can go from there. I wanted to ask you that though.
Yeah, I
So
can
all this
really just
correlation.
Yeah, I can really just land on that. I really was just trying to show, based on how I was bringing up before, like these orders that was in Europe. What are you looking at, like the Templars, the Order of Santiago? All of these orders come from that lineage of the Despacini or the Rex Deus, which are
Mm-hmm.
these these Jews. That's a combination of the Jews that are exilarchs from the Babylonian exile and the Jews who escaped the destruction of the Second Temple in 70 AD. So essentially, what I was
and the Jews of the secret order, the Grail.
Facts.
Yahudi now, you know it's Yahudi now. You know, but yeah, we got you though. Mar Yahudi, you feel me? Type shit. You know what I'm saying? Going on. You know what I mean? A lot of Mar Yahudi shit going on. Hey, so Exelarch, right? So Negro though, see nine. Back to what I was asking. The Negro, the El Negro, Yahya. You know what I'm saying? This is in what time frame? 11th century. You feel me?
11, 12, yeah.
Right, 11th, 12th century, and Tecumseh got this dude Theodoric Amari in the 8th century, and he's in the Americas. So that's what I want people to understand. See, this a Babylonian lineage connection clearly being shown that he's the one tied to that province that's making this way to. At that time, we're just gonna say Mexico.
So 250 years later, part of the bloodline is still getting an autonomous thing. They also setting up the Order of Santiago that's protecting St. James Way, or the Way of
Right.
St. James, which we know is coming all the way over here because there's no way in the world both of these individuals who are both attached to the Marzutras of the Exilarchs of the First Dynasty, they're attached to these guys. And Marzutras are the 400s. You think that information didn't pass to Theodoric A. Marie Makar? And another thing about Theodoric, he to the Muslims, he's known as Al-Makar. To the French, he's known as Theodoric. To those in Lisbon, he's known as Makar. So you have to get the histories written from those people because you have 3 to 5 different kingdoms in that one little area. But if he's known as even there is some scholars that say he's theory number 3, which is another thing, but they also have him as a cousin of him. But if you look at that whole diaspora, you're right. These people knew of this land long ago, and they're only passing that through secret orders, secret monastic orders, or messianic orders that later on turn to Masonic orders.
Right. So what when that all coming down, right? We got this. Again, we got in the 8th century. We got somebody in America tied to the Romans and tied to what we call Yahudi. You know what I'm saying? Situation, right? Then underneath the term Mar, you feel me? At this time frame, by the way, you know what I'm saying? And now Lusitania. Cause this is gonna get back to Yahya El Negro. We're gonna get back to because nine. You got to the. And now that come say you earlier, you covered that part, and now we're getting everybody the combination together. Like all these pieces got to go on a timeline together, so everybody can get to walk right. So boom, we're showing you these exilarchs in different 200 years apart. You know what I mean? Out of what people will call Europe before it was called Europe. You know what I'm saying? Before it was called Portugal, Spain, Castile, Aragon, etc. France. You know what I'm saying? So give me the joint real quick, guy, and then so everybody check this out. We walking you to America, right? We already show you connections there early in the game. But now we know just is it this one or was it the map first? I'm gonna go go with this one. All right, so funny enough, in the Jewish Encyclopedia, right? Discovery of America. A Jew invents the sea quadrant. Among the various discoveries of the 15th century, none is more intimately connected with the Jews and their history than the discovery of the New World. Indirectly and directly, the Jews contributed to the success of Columbus' voyage of exploration, indirectly by means of several astronomic works prepared by them, such as De Luma Rebus et Debus Critiques. You can slide up. And then it says, by Abraham Ibn Ezra, and directly by the invention of instruments for astronomical observation. The instrument of observing the stars, called Jacob's staff, a sea quadrant, was the invention not of the Regal Montes, as has long been considered. But Levi Ben Gerson, who was the first to describe it, as it proved by Stinschleider, and I might have said his name wrong, excuse me, bro. However, and Gunther, like Volkswagen, and it's Abraham Zaccato. I knew about this guy. We talked about him earlier because he's tied. That term Zaccato is tied to the moon, like a crater in the moon. You know what I'm saying? And it says, and then apply this instrument in navigation to determination of latitude without depending upon the sun's meridional height, sometimes unoptionable, using altitude of the polar star at night to ascertain the ship's position. His Latin, screen moving. Let me catch myself. His Latin Perpetual Almanac, afterwards translated in Spanish, with their astronomical tables, rendered Columbus incalculable service. Indeed, one of occasions it saved the lives of his whole company. And Conspicuous, did I say that right? Conspicuous, thank you, brother. I was tongue tied. Conspicuous part 2 in the discovery of America was taken by Marano. See that Mar? Louis de Santiago, against whose relatives the Inquisition waged war of extermination, he himself being subjected to much inconvenience because of his Jewish origin. He was the farmer of the royal taxes and head of an important commercial house in Valencia, and owing to his being a confident of King Ferdinand, he became the Chancellor of Aragon, together with a relative, the royal treasurer, Gabriel Sanchez, whose father was burned in effigy as a Jewish heretic in Saragossa in 1493, and his friend and royal chamberlain, Juan Cabrero, who was likewise of Jewish stock. So, comes down. This is all during the time frame, of Morano's term now that's being used in the 1500s, or Columbus and them, that are like tied to the X-Lark situation. You see what I'm saying now? Dealing with this time frame? Coming out of the same areas?
Definitely. And we can add Gedaliah El Negro to that, who was dealing with King John, or John, who was also part of that expulsion later on. Wasn't he was the one that was getting them to relapse to Judaism?
Right. And they was like, "Here, get him. Hey, all this, can you slide up a little bit more? They were taxing these folk, man. You know what I mean? The private treasuries, according to see the money marks next to them at that time frame. Yeah, they hit. These people got paid for days. Just 1492, they getting expelled, right? Tied to that expulsion, tied to exile. Just different time frames of it. Still the term Marano, you see it consistently, going back to Babylon and making its way to where people like to, popularly just say crypto Jews. But when we understand and tracing why this word is and correlates to our historical narrative of what, facts have taken place, terms that are being used with those that were dark-skinned exile people. The term Marano is there. Just like it goes back to that ancient, prior to Christ. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, Marano, is, self-identifying somebody as a individual, and then over certain times, positions of authority underneath foreign nations, right? You're given a title, right? Which still correlate to the same title of nobility, bishop, duke, earl, etc., right? Underneath foreign nations, jurisdictions, right? We got some kind of autonomy though because of the lineage, ties with other people, and how you're tying into other nobilities and stuff, right? You know what I mean? But we're gonna show something real quick. Can I pull the Lusitania up real quick? Shout out to Miss Sherry. She had shared that, John. I'm like, I'm gonna use this for the night. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all the ladies, by the way, too, that's tapped in. Or the Marie. Where it says Nova Lusitania. And then it says Portuguese for New Lusitania. So, you know, a lot of people know about New Spain because New Spain is promoted to you in history. You know, that they came over, the conquistadors and New Spain, right? But being that the Portuguese in Spain, which is really Castile, what we just read, right? Aragon and all that earlier, Ferdinand and Isabella and all that, Castile, Aragon shit. This right here, Nova Lusitania, Portuguese for New Lusitania. See that Tania? It's a municipality in the state of Sao Paulo in Brazil. The population is, and it shows you that, however, I just wanted to show you that New Lusitania is on this side, right? The place they call Brazil. So when the Portuguese came over here and they did the treaty in 1494, we know it as Brazil, but they also called it New Lusitania. And anybody would they be tied to their jurisdiction or their stock would be tied to the term Luso, and we can slide because we in America now, right? We gonna test America. We Babylon to America. Estelusti, Lusitania, New Lusitania. Ready, whatever you got, keep it moving. Unless Nine or Tecumseh, why before we pull up the next joint, want to say anything while we pulling up the next joint? Because, you know, I got them sliding at this point. Snapping.
Yeah, you can slide.
Boom. Pull up. So I just showed you, obviously, Lusitania, New Lusitania. And obviously the many identity markers of Luso-Americans. Linguistic and psychological identities among the first, second, and third generation Portuguese Americans. You can slide down to page 3 on this for me. You on page 2, it say. You start. Well, yeah, I need page 3. Yep, right there. Keep going down. Keep going down. Keep going down. Slide down more. Right there. Right there. Can you make that bigger? Yeah, right there. And it said International Journal of Arts and Social Science, you know what I mean? Edition was like just done recently in 2020. In other words, Portuguese and Luso Americans at this time were afraid of being discriminated against by white Americans, since the latter, due to their ignorance, prejudice, and bigotry, considered all Portuguese as being dark, colored, or just outright black. The separation of the two Portuguese-speaking groups was evident in the recreational and social clubs, as well as the churches as religious associations, Catholics as well as Protestant, that soon were formed to cater to a growing Cape Verdean population in the greater New England area. The need to separate the two Lusophone communities and their descendants was thus more a psychological reaction and adaptation to the new environment rather than an innate dislike for people of other ethnic and racial backgrounds. For example, the most common racial slur against Portuguese speakers used by whites was the word brava, from one of the Cape Verde Islands, which for white Americans meant black. Ironically, people from Brava are, for most part, light-skinned, at times even lighter than some Europeans. Sick. Let's give you context. But you see how it said, though, you know what I mean, that the Portuguese and the Luso Americans, right, are colored, dark, or outright black. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all catch that now? And Tecumseh? Loosely. Slide up, go back up to page 2. Did y'all catch that?
Definitely.
Come up a little more. Right there. Stop right there. Right there. Yeah. Stop right there. The first record of Portuguese man on American soil dates back to 1634. They say, and like they're really talking about like Maryland because of 13 colonies. And it says Matthias de Sousa, a Portuguese Creole living in Maryland, also during colonial times. There are records of the Portuguese settlers in Martha's Vineyard in Nantucket, Massachusetts. Today, Martha Vineyard boasts thriving Luso-American communities in Oak Bluffs, Tisbury, and Edgartown, whereas according to 2000 U.S. Census, Nantucket's Luso-American population make up 6.1% of its 10,172 total population. A famous Portuguese American was Peter Francisco, most likely hailing from the Azores, who played a key role in the American Revolutionary War. So, as you slide down. See that word Creole, right? It's tied to the Portuguese. See this word Luso? Oh, stop right there. Yeah. And this paragraph where it says, given that at this time the archipelago, I said that wrong, the archipelago of Cape Verde alongside the other Portuguese colonies in Africa and Asia was under Portuguese rule. Cape Verdean immigrants who also settled in the area counted as Portuguese citizens. One can imagine the double discrimination that the Cape Verdeans had to endure. From one side, the hatred and discrimination of white America. After all, this was before the civil rights movement. From the other side, there was a discrimination and an ill treatment to their fellow Portuguese compatriots, who, for fear of being lumped together as people of color, wanted to dissociate themselves from the Cape Verdeans to the eyes of white Americans. You see what I'm saying? There's a separation going on when people are like, look, man, I'm different than them folk right there. You know what I'm talking about? And them people right there. You know what I mean? We all might be underneath the colored category, you feel me? But I don't want to be in that situation. You know what I'm saying? They clearly let you know, though, when it said Luso in Portuguese, we're talking about dark-skinned, black, colored folk, all right? So Lusitania, you know what I mean? The Jews are the ones coming out of this area. Actually, you can slide up a little more. I go up again. So I want to start on page 3, be going back to 1, 3, 2, 1. Feel me? No, keep going up more. That's Matthias. I had to make sure people can go right up. See, we're almost to page 1. There it says Sephardic Jews, most of them Portuguese, were already living in Dutch New Amsterdam, 1609 to 1664, and later British New York City, 1664 to 1776. Prior to 1654, our arrival of their coreligionists hailing from northern Brazil. You see what I'm saying? They came from where? Brazil, right? To New York. Are y'all seeing that guy in 9 and Tecumseh?
It's definitely making sense.
Okay.
We know when we did the first El Negro, we was talking about those that converted over the indigenous warriors of Brazil, Felipe Camaro and Henrique Diaz, who was considered negritos in that Brazilian Book of Armory, who end up being Knights in the Order of Christ, which is just a repackaged Order of the Knights Templar in the years late 1500s, early 1600s, when they was coming over here. So it falls in line. I see the game.
Word, and that's why I got some other. After this paragraph, we're gonna slide. It says, you know what I mean. After this paragraph, it says, after it says, Sephardic diaspora within Americas being expelled from. See that word expelled, exile, come again, right? You see, it's always tied to certain group of people, right? See that, right? And it says, from the voluntary choosing to leave Brazil despite their loyalty to Portugal and assistance in defeating the Dutch who had occupied northern Brazil, 1630 to 1654. Sephardic Jews started migrating north and settling in the 3 Guianas, former Dutch Guyana, now Suriname, French Guiana, British Guiana, the Caribbean islands, New Orleans, Savannah, Charleston, Newport, New Amsterdam, Trios Rivers, Canada, to name the most important sites where they eventually settled and started thriving trade network that lasted for more than 200 years. You see what I'm saying? Luso, you heard me? Luso, coming out of Brazil. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's coming full circle. That's coming full circle because Antonio Felipe Camaro, which they call shrimp, that's where Spanish people use that to call shrimp. He fought the Dutch in 1630 under the order of Christ, which is just the Knights Templar. He fought them and had a whole regiment of close to 7,000 men in that area, what we call in Olinda, Brazil, which is one of the first municipalities they set up over there. So, and that was a sugar-rich certain thing going on over there.
All right, guy, you can slide to the next one. See, I'm trying to keep. I want to make sure I get all this in part 3 of Estelusti. See that word Lusti though, right? Lusti, Lusitania. It's a description, right? Are we all agreeing that this is a description? And it's letting you know we're talking about black folk. We know we're talking about black folk, and it's also saying we're talking about Sephardic Jews. Being that Sephardic is just dealing with the same region of Lusitania, right? And I mean, being that Lusitania is older than Sephard. You feel me? And that Brazil's New Lusitania. So those are Lusitanian, born here, mixing with natives and etc., aboriginals, and then slide into other areas because they're getting followed. You see what I'm saying? And it's literally letting you know that. You know what I mean? They're telling you this was going on. So they're sliding. You know what I mean? Trade, but they're moving around. They're moving through the whole Caribbean. You know what I mean? Lusitanians. They've probably been moving through the whole region. You see where I'm going? No, and Tecumseh, being that, Lusitanians, Septimanians been coming over here since 800 AD.
Definitely.
Whenever you're ready, next one. I'm good, thank you. So this is where the word Lusa, Tuscaloosa, I want to make sure. Did we got the Marano? Maranhão? The capital? I want to show y'all this capital real quick, man. If you can pull it up real quick, too. Just pull that up before we go into this. Showing the Maranhão joint. So you can't make this up, you know what I mean? In Lusitania, right? Capital of Brazil, you know what I'm saying? New Lusitania, right? Mar can't make this up, Mar. Moran to you, I can't make this up. You see that word Moran there? You see that word Moran? I mean, I can't make this up.
I see it.
Where's it saying this at? The state of Brazil. What is Brazil also called? New Lusitania.
New Lusitania.
You feel me? Just make sure all this is connecting to y'all. Because we just walked from Babylon to America, right? You know that Brazil's also coined the term Negro de Terra, right? Right? So Negro de Terra, New Lusitania, feel me? With the Maranhão, the Mar, you feel me? I hope you're seeing how this all, it's in your face. I mean, Estelusti to you, feel me? How this term Lusti is also correlated to a black, you know what I'm saying? Because it goes into the influence of the indigenous people and gets into all the cultures to say Lucy, Lusa. That's why it's always tied black to black. And then later it's used to discriminate you as a one drop rule tied to that Negro of the land situation. You know what I'm talking about? And why there's Maroons, like the Seminoles, who were on their own land, being called Cimarroons or Maroons, being excommunicated from the Muskogee lineage they tied to. I mean, this is all in reference to laws and jurisdictions and how to, from Babylon to America. I wanted to make sure we got that Tuscaloosa, though. Let's get Tuscaloosa in here. The Black Warriors, he can Luso. I already showed you Luso Americans, right? They obviously indigenous to America because they're here. They're definitely native at this point. If they were just brought over here, maybe their parents came from out of that area. You know what I'm saying? Oh, we got something in. Because I lived in Castro Valley 7 years. All the profession Portuguese there are pale, but if you befriend them, they are quick to tell you their ancestors are Negro. It's only some of their ancestors, if any. Okay, that's what's up. Shout out to you for putting that out there. You know what I mean? I wonder when that whitewash came in or something. But because them people had got excommunicated, you know what I'm saying? And they had to slide. Yeah, you see it. Luso, Luzo, means dark. Right. Estelusti. It does. Estelusa, Tuscaloosa, right? The Black Warrior. Let's pull them up. Let's pull up the Black Warrior real quick. Tuscaloosa. Because in 1540, you know what I'm saying? When people say, when the people got here, people like De Leon, Cortez pull up. You know what I'm saying? This is when they just get into North America. It's because it's tied to certain charters and certain things. When it coming out of Cuba, actually, you know what I'm saying, and Hispaniola, they were like, we can go up to North America now and do some things. And it's tied to this dude Hernandez Cortez, who's involved with taking down the Inca, right? So obviously, this is the time frame. It's telling you 1540, right? But this word Tuscaloosa is obviously tied to this man's name, and that's what people, obviously, I ain't disrespecting nobody, so this they say the man's name is, right? And no, this word Tusca means warrior, and this word Lusa means black, because the word Tuscaloosa means black. You know what I'm saying? The Tuscaloosa River means the Black Warrior River, or the Warrior Black River, however you want to go about it. If you go from right to left or left to right, I guess, right? However, it said, and it's tied to the Muskegon language, and that word Cacique. Now I need to, what's that tied to? In parentheses next to chief, and he's a paramount chief. People to catch that too.
You talking about Kahike?
Kahike. I want to make sure I said it right. Kahike?
Yeah.
Shout out to my Latin speaking brothers down here in the swamps,
Some
in the
say
marshes.
Cacique.
That's how I was thinking to say it. See, I wanted to say it like that. That's how I thought it would. Either way, though, you know what I mean. It's saying though, Cacique, right? It's tied to the that means he's the paramount chief. It means he has other chiefs underneath him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And all Caciques have multiple chiefs under them. They're part of the minions.
You got dominions, chiefdoms and shit. You know what I'm saying? Now remember, the name Tuscaloosa means black warrior in Western Muskegon language here, right? Lusa, Estelusti, right? At this point in 1540, this is before the first settlement in St. Augustine in 1565. There isn't a settlement yet in North America. Hernan Cortez is just doing an expedition. He's expediting, going through these regions looking for gold and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? He ain't really on no settlement shit. He's on some, let me get this gold up out of here and let me get some women and some goods so I can go what I got to do. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, you slide down real quick though. As a matter of fact, it breaks it down as this: his province included series of villages, which most were located along the rivers of Coosa and Alabama. Remember, ain't no, Alabama at that time. Mobilia, you know what I'm saying? And that's the tribe, backwards, kind of. Each village had its own chief who was a vassal to Tuscaloosa. According to contemporary sources, Tuscaloosa was very tall, muscular, and lean. Some chroniclers even claim that he was about 1.5 feet taller than the Spaniards. You know what I'm saying? This man was like over 7.5 feet tall, some shit like that. He's like a giant, huge, right? So, anyways, it comes down to, I want to just get to this person with him when it talks about Tuscaloosa and Hernando de Soto. So that's it, Hernando Cortez, didn't I apologize. My bad, y'all. This is the main sources of information about Tuscaloosa and its people are the chronicles of Hernando de Soto. See, I was moving fast because Cortez, Hernando, I be messing up all y'all Hernandos, and you know what I'm saying? Feel like it's a lot of them got Jesus. Yeah, Jesus. The funny, see, you were gonna say it. The main source of information Tuscaloosa and his people are chronicles of Hernando de Soto's expedition to the North American mainland. After being appointed governor of Cuba, the Spanish king Carlos I sent de Soto to conquer the area that is now southern United States. In 1539, De Soto landed near Tampa, Florida, accompanied by 600 to 1,000 men and 200 horses. As they explored the region, they frequently came into violent conflict with the inhabitants, and they also kidnapped locals, forcing them to be bearers and interpreters and hostages, human shields. Slide up, God. In the fall of 1540, the expedition had reached the middle of the modern-day Alabama. Tallahassee. It's like Tallahassee later on. Tallahassee. It's just the expedition reached the village of Tallahassee. Tallahassee, if you want to, I'm talking fast, Geechee kind of, on the 18th of September with the paramount chief of Coosa and his sister as their hostages. Now it goes through the whole storyline and his son gets involved, you know what I mean? But Tallahassee chief, the Tallahassee chief, Tallahassee chief, and his vassals had already fled. But De Soto sent a message to the chief who returned a week later. You know what I mean? This is like smaller chiefs, you know what I'm saying? At the time, you know what I mean? But anyway, slide down, God. You know what I mean? I want to just make sure you got to catch it in the context of the storyline I'm giving out. It's still tied to Lusa. I mean, it gives a storyline with the De Soto. It's the main part. And obviously, I want you to see this thing down here where it says Atahachi, right? The following the expedition, the village of De Soto was brought to see the chief, who was waiting for him under a portico on top of a platform mound. Atahachi is described in the chronicles as a big, recently built, fortified community with plaza. Chief Tuscaloosa himself is depicted as a very tall man with his head covered by a coif, resembling a Moorish alamazal, and wearing a mantle of feathers all the way down to his feet. He was seated on a high cushion, so you can move up, God, and in the company of several others and other important men. So he was tall as Tony and Tico the Emperor, or Lords and Guard, and goes into all that, you know what I mean? But however, in 1540, I want to ask you and Tecumseh, in 1540, Hernando de Soto, coming into this region, he's meeting a chief with the term named Tuscaloosa. Do you think this is name, or do you think this is a description of the warrior king, chief, in his position?
I don't know. It's definitely coming from Spain, because he's a Spanish Portuguese guy, so he can know of the old so-called Toulouse, the old what you call that, Tuscan Arizona / Roman colony. So he can be naming them through that Roman colony, or it could be his name. Or it could be a name attached to the area, Tuscaloosa.
Mm-hmm.
But Tuscany, Italy, we know that to be the main municipality of the Roman Empire outside of Vatican City. And it's just weird that it got that name, Tuscany.
Right, Tuscan.
And they called the Etruscans Tuscan. I think TUS.
Interesting.
Some weirdo. I don't want to give that to the Moors, though. Stop.
And they already said Moorish on there. I ain't being biased because I know what the word Moorish. I'm gonna say Marsh. I'm banging on the Yehudi side of that one. I'm saying Marish for now on. I ain't even addressing because I told you this should go back to, I got Moorish ancestry. Goddamn, you know what I mean? I ain't got my shit go back to Babylon.
When you say Etruscan, you got to be careful. They be like,
I know.
Etruscan.
You know what I mean? But as a maroon, I'm gonna say I got Marish. You know what I'm saying? Like you nigga talk like you ought to be more or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Or they got a Philly with the little slang to it. You know what I mean? Either way though, I'm out the marshes. You know what I'm saying? The glades and swamp with it. Real time. This still either way it's crazy that that's how they're depicting them. You keep it moving, God. You know what I'm saying? What we got next? We're almost there. I want to show that though. Tuscaloosa, Lusa, Estelusti. You know what I'm saying? The connection to the Sephardic situation. I want to just we can Yeah, shut that real quick. And obviously going into this 1540s, 16th century, you know what I'm saying? And you got people like Jack Forbes, shout out to him, you know what I mean? Jack Forbes, did a book, you know what I mean? I'm gonna show a quick little joint. You can scroll go to the right though. Like make it, yeah, I want that part to the right, or my right. It should be, yeah, we on point. Now, in this part right here, I always give this guy a shout out. Obviously tonight I give a shout out to certain individuals for people to go do their research on, like James Hugo Johnston. You know what I'm saying? I always highlight him. He's like, you got to highlight these people so people can go research what they are involved in when it comes to this Indian Negro conversation, right? In this mixture situation. But however, Johnston also noted that many Indians were enslaved along the eastern seaboard. The end of Indian slavery came to the final absorption of the blood of the Indian and more numerous Negro slave. But the blood of the Indian did not become extinct in the slave states, for it continued to flow in the veins of the Negro. In an article published in the Journal of Negro History, Johnston remarked, where the Negro was brought into contact with the American Indian, the blood of the two races intermingled. The Indian has not disappeared from the land, but is now part of the Negro population of the United States. The later statement might offend many Indians today who still survive, of course, but in great numbers of Native Americans deny less of significance in Johnson's thesis as regards the extent of Native American, African American intermixture remains before us. Nor was Johnston alone. Frank H. Russell, in his The Free Negro in Virginia, wrote in 1913. You know what I mean? You slide up a little bit, God. You know what I mean? You slide up. Yeah, I really just. Can you make that bigger at all? You slide, make that a little bit bigger for the folk outside. People that's outside looking in. You know what I'm talking about? You can't make it bigger. You try. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we good. It's a little bit better. Right now, slide down real quick. Though. We're gonna keep it moving. Slide down. We got to 11:11. Just slide down. Yeah, right here, right there. No, stop right there, right there. All right, so now we're 1540, 16th century, as I brought up earlier before I pulled up the joint. Now, this mixture you just heard me read through, and obviously in this time frame, Blackamoor, as you see there's Blackamoor there. If y'all looking at it, Blackamoor in different variations. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say Blackamoor. You know what I'm saying? This is 1590s, right before it gets kind of cut off coming from the page before it. This term was borrowed from the Spanish and usually referred to persons met with in the Caribbean and South America. Early Spanish definitions of the term make it highly probable, indeed, virtually certain, that such persons were usually half African, half American. John Mishu, you got to look into him, as already noted, defined mulatto in 1599, 1617, and later a person who was a child of Moro or Blackamoor and one of another nation. This extremely accurate and timely definition reflected Spanish usage very well. Now, let us review other early English dictionaries of that time frame, 1611, King James Bible time frame. You know what I'm saying? Mulo, horse mulo, also a bastard or misbegotten. You know what I mean? Does a mulatto, has a blackamoor Ethiopia, you know what I'm saying? And mulatto's correlated to a blackamoor here. Thomas Blunt, 1656, you know what I mean? Comes down mulatto, the son of a blackamoor and a man of another nation. Meaning that mixture, that Indian, blackamoor, Negro, I guess Lusitanian, Luso-American mixture that's also tied to the Negro. You see why I'm showing this 90th and the Tecumseh? What they're showing here in correlation to what we just talked about? You can keep it moving, guy.
Yeah, definitely is still tied to the Negro.
Yeah. They're walking all that down. What's this? What's that? Okay. Well, it's. I think that we're gonna slide for that one. You think, God? Maybe. Let's save that for the new year. Because there's a lot of Babylonian talk tonight, and we don't want people to get, you know what I'm saying? Because I really feel like we could, you know what I'm saying? We could walk it in, but I'm like, you know what? Nah, let's wait. Because it's almost time anyways. Before we slide out of here tonight, though. You know what I mean? Next week again, check us out. You know what I mean? Check us out next week for the Mixcloud version of what we're gonna be doing. It's gonna be the mix. We're gonna be live. You know what I mean? Shout out to Blaze. We're gonna be doing mostly music, and then on Mixcloud we get to act up a little bit more because YouTube we gotta be how that works. But Mixcloud next week. Go to our website thomasparty.com. You can get to the Mixcloud. You know what I'm saying? And we can tap in with us next week for the solstice. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all my indigenous people. Maranatha to you. In the time frame we live in, has been excommunicated, disenfranchised on your own land. What Martin Luther King said, right? In the 1960s, we were exiled on our own land. Exile. The term exile, that word Negro. The term Mar. Talking about Muslims first. Man, listen, I know people caught up to certain situations, but you gotta understand we're gonna be factual over here. So if you can show us something that Islam is in Babylon and Arabic and Mohammedanism, and if not, then we're putting the Mar More thing underneath the Aramaic thing, which is tied to the Babylonian thing. You know what I'm saying? Of dark skinned people who are being exiled, that's tied to the Negro. Shout out to El Negro, Yaya, right? Nah. Tecumseh, before we slide out of here, man. Anything y'all want to say? Appreciate y'all. Shout out to everybody in the chat.
I ain't got nothing to add to that, man. Estelusti.
And all I would add to it is that those exarchs became the House of Windsor and the House of Hanover, and later on was hijacked.
And Habsburg.
Oh yeah, Habsburg and Brandenburg.
Yeah, them Habsburgs, that's King Philip. That's when Portuguese got consolidated underneath Spain, which was like 1555, and that's when homeboy King Philip and he's with them Habsburgs and shit. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Carlos Quinto under the Habsburgs too, ain't it?
Yeah, he was tied to that shit too.
Which Philip? Philip the Handsome?
I think it's the fifth.
Oh, the fifth.
I have to look up. I might be wrong on that, y'all. If I did listen to them, I know it was the Philip though. 1555.
Well, definitely that the Exarch bloodline went into Cordova and to Mendoza's to Queen Elizabeth. From Queen Elizabeth, it went to Ferdinand I, and then it jumped up a couple of to the Fredericks, and then last king was King George. Would be the last of the Exarch bloodline, and that is end in 1812, commencing the Seminole Wars over here.
Could it go into the Stuarts? That's what God Green said.
It did go into the Stuarts, but it went into more of the Tudor Stuarts. And Tudor comes from Tudor, which is Britannic, Britain. That's the Gwyn dynasty. So when you get the Tudors, but it definitely touched some of the Tudors because of Frederick and Sophia of Saxons, what they call it, Saxon Gotha.
Yeah, Saxon Gotha.
And Altenburg, which that line went through. So it definitely touched the Stuarts. Now there's different lines that are not. I sent one earlier this last month from King James to David, which is a different line. So it wouldn't be of the Exarch line, but it was of prestigious nobility.
Man, look, man, shoot. This is why people got to go ahead and know genealogy, right? Because not only in their line, you go walking down this history, you can go walk down. But who's his mother? Wait a second, who his father is? And who they did business with? Oh, you went and married them people over there, huh? Oh, you went and did what? Oh, okay. Yeah, I see you.
And just to add to what you're saying, Erie, it's possible that he could not descend from the Exarchs that came from Babylon, but descend from the elders that fled after 70 AD. See what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, they would definitely be exiled. He's just not in the Exilarch line. Those people are, like you say, it's nobility. So you ain't got to be from the Exilarch, but you can be expelled out of that area, because we know there was multiple expulsions in that area that we're calling Israel, Sumer, Iran, that whole little area. It was multiple expulsions. So it's definitely going to go down that. And like Max said, that's what we had to do. Say who's his mom's and who's his mom's mom's, who's his mother's mother. So then you could see all those interacting of the Stuart line and the Tudor line coming together somewhere around the year 1100s. And now it gets real strong in the year 1500s, but then it loses all its power. So that Stuart Tudor relationship pops up somewhere in 1100s, but it dies in late 1500s, early 1600s. And you get those Plantagenets.
Hey man, I just be, as we be doing these builds, and that's why, what I'm saying, we just being honest when we showing the sources, we going over it. And we started just really on a genealogy, to be honest with everybody, for ourselves, right? We started finding, the European, and the surnames going back to Sir, CUSUR, going back, to these areas. And we were like, wait a minute. So we were like, wait a second. Before they were called these terms that people called European, what are the terms being called when the Romans, when it fell, when the people that they say were Muslims, that people are saying are the Moors, invade this area, which is obviously 700, right? 700 AD. But then the Muhammad don't even pop up until 600 AD. So I'll be trying to understand how they're going to give the term Moor to the Muslims when you got Moors tied to the Christians. You know what I'm saying? You got Moors tied to the Germans. You got Moors tied to the Persians. You know what I mean? This term Mars being traveled back to Babylon. It's from its essence of what it means in the Aramaic sense to the Christian, Syriac, and all the different linguistic lingua francas you want to go to. You know what I mean? But just walk it up the right way, being biased type shit. You know what I'm saying?
And that makes more sense in the year 500, like you said. 500, you got Mars that are dealing with what? The Jewish Exilarch things. And then you have Moor, M-O-R, which are the Britons, which just meant great. It ended up being at Moors, A-P-M-A-R. So it's different Moors out here at the time that everyone wants to lump it into an Islamic type of vibe.
Right. Everybody ain't moving in that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody ain't doing that. And they fighting against each other. So stop acting like that. And hey, black on black crime, you know what I'm talking about, on a global level at that time. You feel me? When you have power. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? Not like what we in the situation of now. You know what I'm saying? We be fighting about, the semantics of what we calling ourselves. And I understand it's important because the foreign titles that have been put on us has kept us from certain things. You know what I mean? In our lineage and how they disenfranchise us with the one drop rule as Estelusti. See, right? So that's why it's that same situation. That's the same energy. So the Mar term. I'm letting you know, Maranatha. I'm a Maroon. I self-identify that way. Yamasi, shout out to my Yamasi folk, my Muskogee folk, Black Seminole Yacht Seminole. You know what I'm saying? Loose. Saponi. You know what I mean? I can name, shout out to my Scottish folk out there too, though. You heard me? Them Jacobites. I wanted to talk about them Jacobites real quick, though. I ain't gonna front. You know what I'm saying? But we only got a few minutes. It's 1 minute away. So we're not gonna do it. But tap in with us, because they were them Blackamoors, swarthy individuals coming over here. Talking about, Tecumseh.
A lot of people was being banished too, right?
They were getting expelled at that time. Exiled. See that word exile?
In the 1600s, there's a different banishment. And I just put the royal proclamations in the chat. But I'm going to read one part of this banishment. It's called the Proclamation for the Due and Speedy Execution of the Statute Against Rogues, Vagabonds, Idle Men, and Desolate Persons. Whereas Parliament in 1603, holding at Westminster on the 9th or the 13th day of the reign of the Majesty, so desires to remove and was made repressing of rogues, vagabonds, idle, and desolate persons, whereas the realm was much infested by the due execution of lawlessness. And in this proclamation, they're sending these people to America. These royal proclamations that I just put in there, there's about 40 royal proclamations. It starts in 1603 and doesn't stop until like 1790, which is one of Mac's favorite years. But those proclamations are sending people out of the jurisdiction of Europe. And the second proclamation on there is for the transporting of women and children to foreign parts. So dig into the researchers. Y'all can dig into those proclamations and see what they were doing. And remember, this is 1603, 1606, 1614, these proclamations where they're banishing people to Virginia. Why don't we know about the banishment of people to Virginia before 1619?
That part. Come on now.
I land.
What's that movie? What's that movie, guy? Before we go, what's that movie? What's the movie, man? The movie that just Obama done put out. I just watched that shit last night. I forget the name. Leave the World Behind.
Leave the World Behind. Yeah, I heard about it.
I watched that shit last night, right? And that white line that came up on the beach. Yeah, that white lion that pulled up on the beach. Like,
oh, they showed the white lion, John Joke.
The white lion came up and he was running for the life.
Did they show it with a Dutch flag though? Did they show it with a Dutch flag?
It was an oil tanker. It was an oil tanker. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But it had white lion on it, and it's funny because the white lion was what? What did white lion do? It intercepted what? A Portuguese ship, right?
A Portuguese ship, San Juan Batista. Oh
yeah. So since we said Lusitania, and we're talking about the Portuguese New Lusitania, being that people like to popularize New Spain, there was a ship that sunk in 1915 called Lusitania, and I land. Leave the world behind.
That's
a lot of clues out there. You know what I'm saying?
That's subconsciously telling you to break off your lineage. Leave the world behind. Don't worry about that.
Word talk, man. They watching a lot of things out here, man. Pay attention. Keep your eye on the swivel and the head on the swivel. Eyes on the swivel. The cataracts is tripping. Real though. Yeah, I appreciate y'all for tapped in with us. Everybody that tapped in live. Yeah, man. Next week, so we're gonna be on Mixcloud. Exclusively for the solstice. We're gonna be on YouTube next week. And we're just saying that because they're gonna hit us. So we can't be playing the music we want to play, the videos we want to show, the shit we want to talk about. So we're gonna go ahead and just be on there for the Mixcloud joint next week. So tap in with us. You see a flyer. Same time though, we're just gonna be straight there over there exclusive. Besides, we might be dropping a world premiere, but we'll let you know. Shout out to Maroon J. Part of my
shout out to Maroon J. Shout out to the chat. Radimus, I see you down there.
Yeah, Radimus, what up?
Shout out to Sherry. None your business.
Oh yeah, what's up? None your business. How you doing? Peace to you.
Everybody that's in the joint. I can't see you all. Kenny Love.
Who else on there?
JJ.
Net.
Cottrell.
Monte. Yeah, shout out to everybody that's in the chat, man.
More than Bree.
From the West Coast.
To the East Coast, Miss
to the north to the south. You know what I mean?
Can't forget Miss
Oh, what's up, Miss Stell? Peace to Miss Stell. You know what I mean? Oh, matter of fact, I'm gonna put it out there. Miss Stell, I've invited you January 7th. What up, JJ? January 7th. And Miss Angela. Shout out to Miss Angela, you know what I'm saying? Davina, what up? Peace to the party, yeah. Morality to you. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? January 7th, we got ladies. I'm inviting some ladies to come on the panel and have a discussion with us. So if you're interested, you know what I mean? You can keep it peaceful. You know what I'm saying? We can do something. Shout out to Miss Angela. I got her January 7th. Matter of fact, I got my man too, DJ Bay. You know what I'm saying? He gonna pull up in the beginning to give me something real quick. If not, we working on something. But however, you know what I mean? First of the year type of shit. We already got shit scheduling going on. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you're welcome. Maranatha to you once again. You know what I'm saying? The time we living in. V Cooper, peace. How you doing? Peace to you. Again, appreciate everybody that's tapping in with us on Sundays in this live show. And again, share it to your people after the fact. You know what I mean? The sources again, the walk is there. You know what I mean? No confusion needed. You know what I'm saying? We just trying to break it down, and let people see, as you know, how this thing happened and tell our own story. You know what I mean? Until next week. Hope you have a good weekend. Enjoy your holidays, the solstice, whatever you might be celebrating in your indigenous manner, or however you might go in other ways or cultures, we might say. You know what I mean? That's in this land, natively speaking, in the ways you do about it. Be peace and They say Shalom, Islam, Halito, and all the good stuff. Khan Hanapi. But I'm gonna say to y'all going into 2024, DAF 2023. You know what I'm saying? Maranatha to you. Living our righteous decisions. Our time has come. Peace.